In the complex aftermath of a romantic separation, understanding the intricate dance of human emotions becomes paramount. Breakups fundamentally disrupt established patterns of emotional dependency and psychological association, creating a vacuum that often leads to intense feelings of loss and longing. From a psychological perspective, this period represents a critical juncture where both individuals navigate through various stages of grief, denial, anger, and eventual acceptance. However, what sets apart those who successfully emerge from breakups with their self-worth intact is their ability to recognize and manipulate these emotional patterns to their advantage. The human psyche operates on deeply ingrained mechanisms of attachment and validation seeking. During relationships, we become conditioned to certain patterns of interaction, emotional responses, and behavioral cues that create what psychologists term emotional anchors. These anchors serve as subconscious triggers that keep us connected to our partners, even when the relationship has ended. When a breakup occurs, these anchors don't simply disappear. Instead, they transform into powerful psychological levers that can be consciously directed and controlled. Scientific research in behavioral psychology reveals that humans are inherently wired to value what they've lost or what becomes scarce. This principle, known as the scarcity effect, plays a crucial role in post-breakup dynamics. When someone suddenly withdraws their presence, attention, and emotional availability, elements that were once freely given, it triggers an automatic recalibration in the other person's mind. The brain begins to assign higher value to what was previously taken for granted, initiating a process of re-evaluation and potential regret. Furthermore, the concept of intermittent reinforcement becomes particularly relevant in understanding how emotional patterns can be strategically influenced after a breakup. Studies show that inconsistent patterns of reward and withdrawal create stronger neural pathways than consistent behavior. This means that carefully managing your presence and engagement with your ex-partner can actually strengthen their attachment to you rather than weaken it. The key lies in understanding how to implement these patterns systematically and effectively. Neuroscientific research also highlights the role of mirror neurons and emotional contagion in relationship dynamics. When one partner demonstrates strength, independence, and emotional stability post-breakup, it often triggers similar responses in the other person. This phenomenon, known as social modeling, suggests that by maintaining composure and demonstrating personal growth, you can influence your ex's perception of you and potentially alter their emotional response to the breakup. The psychological landscape of breakups is further complicated by cognitive dissonance theory. When people invest significant time and emotion into a relationship, their minds struggle to reconcile the discrepancy between their current state, single, and their previous investment, the relationship. This internal conflict often manifests as increased interest or nostalgia for what was lost, creating an opportunity for strategic manipulation of emotional patterns. By understanding these underlying mechanisms, individuals can position themselves advantageously in the post-breakup dynamic. It's important to note that while these psychological principles provide insight into human behavior, their application requires careful consideration and ethical awareness. The goal should always be personal growth and healthy detachment, rather than malicious manipulation. Nevertheless, recognizing these patterns empowers individuals to navigate their emotional landscape with greater awareness and control, potentially leading to more favorable outcomes in their post-relationship journey. Strategic detachment, mastering the art of controlled withdrawal. Implementing strategic distance requires precision timing and calculated execution. Begin by establishing a clear communication framework that creates natural barriers without appearing deliberately aloof. For instance, set specific times during the week when you're unavailable due to pre-planned activities or work commitments. These periods of absence should gradually increase in duration, creating a pattern of growing independence while maintaining just enough presence to prevent complete disengagement. Digital presence management becomes crucial during this phase. Modify your social media activity to reflect a balanced lifestyle, neither overly active nor completely dormant. Post content that showcases personal growth, new experiences, and social connections, but maintain a degree of mystery by not revealing too much detail. The key is to demonstrate that life continues positively without them, while leaving room for curiosity about your full experience. Avoid direct mentions or references to your ex, focusing instead on building an appealing narrative of self-improvement and discovery. Physical space management requires equally careful orchestration. If you share mutual friends or social circles, attend gatherings selectively, ensuring you're present enough to remain visible, but absent enough to create intrigue. When in shared spaces, maintain confident body language and engage naturally with others, avoiding any appearance of seeking attention or validation. This approach reinforces the message that while you still exist within the same social sphere, you're operating independently and successfully. The timing of your appearances and interactions needs to follow an irregular pattern. Psychologists suggest varying your schedule of engagement using the 48-72-hour rule. Respond to any contact or social interaction within a window that feels neither immediate nor neglectful. This time frame allows for natural processing while maintaining a sense of availability. When communicating, keep messages concise and neutral, focusing on practical matters rather than emotional content. Each interaction should leave your ex feeling slightly intrigued but never fully satisfied, creating a subtle craving for more meaningful connection. Environmental engineering plays another vital role in maintaining strategic distance. Rearrange your living space to remove obvious reminders of your past relationship while incorporating elements that reflect your evolving identity. This physical transformation serves dual purposes. It reinforces your own psychological separation while providing subtle visual cues to others about your personal growth. When visitors notice changes in your environment, they'll naturally comment on your apparent progress, potentially reaching your ex through the social network. Social calendar optimization becomes your most powerful tool in this strategy. Schedule regular activities that align with your interests and goals, filling your time with meaningful pursuits that enhance your personal development. Document these experiences mentally rather than digitally, creating reservoirs of interesting stories and accomplishments that can be shared selectively when appropriate. This approach ensures you're never at a loss for engaging conversation topics that highlight your growth and independence. The psychological reversal, triggering desire. Through absence, as strategic distance takes root, the psychological reversal begins to unfold through several distinct phases of emotional reprogramming. Initially, the sudden reduction in familiar patterns triggers what psychologists call emotional recalibration in your ex-partner's mind. Their brain struggles to reconcile the absence of your usual presence with their established mental models of the relationship, creating cognitive dissonance. This internal conflict forces them to reevaluate the value they placed on your connection, often leading to increased thoughts about you and your shared history. The scarcity principle operates powerfully during this phase. As your availability becomes less predictable and your presence more intermittent, your ex-partner's mind begins to assign higher value to moments spent with you. Neuroscience research shows that unpredictable rewards trigger stronger dopamine releases than consistent ones, meaning each interaction now carries more emotional weight. This biochemical response creates a subconscious craving for more engagement, even if they consciously resist it. Social proof amplifies this effect significantly. As your ex observes your apparent success in moving forward through selective social media updates, comments from mutual friends about your positive changes, or witnessing your confident demeanor at social events, their brain activates comparison mechanisms. The contrast between their current emotional state and your projected happiness creates what psychologists term social envy, a powerful motivator for reconnecting. This isn't malicious jealousy, but rather a natural human response to perceived improvement in others' circumstances. The phenomenon of idealization distortion emerges as another crucial factor. In your absence, your ex-partner's memory begins filtering out negative aspects of your relationship while amplifying positive experiences. Research in memory studies shows that memories undergo constant reconstruction, and without current negative interactions to reinforce unpleasant memories, the brain defaults to more favorable recollections. This process transforms your image from a former partner into an idealized version of what could have been, intensifying desire for reconciliation. Behavioral conditioning plays out through the careful timing of your interactions. Each brief encounter or communication serves as a reinforcer, strengthening the neural pathways associated with positive feelings toward you. The irregular nature of these interactions prevents habituation, the diminishing response that occurs with consistent exposure. Instead, each contact creates a fresh surge of emotional response, keeping your presence vivid and desirable in their mind. Perhaps most significantly, the psychological concept of loss aversion comes into play. Human beings experience losses more intensely than equivalent gains, and as your ex witnesses your apparent movement away from them, their fear of permanent loss grows stronger. This primal response can override rational decision-making, pushing them toward action to prevent what they perceive as irretrievable separation. The combination of increasing value assignment, social comparison, and loss aversion creates a powerful psychological cocktail that often leads to renewed pursuit and desire for connection. Mastering, self-transformation, building irresistible value. The cornerstone of post-breakup transformation lies in systematic self-enhancement across multiple dimensions of personal development. Begin by implementing a structured morning routine that incorporates mindfulness practices, physical exercise, and personal reflection. Neuroscientific research indicates that consistent morning rituals create positive neuroplastic changes, enhancing both mood regulation and cognitive function. Start each day with 20 minutes of meditation followed by 30 minutes of high-intensity interval training, which not only improves physical health but also triggers endorphin release that supports emotional resilience. Professional advancement becomes your next focus area. Identify 3 key skills directly related to your career trajectory and dedicate specific blocks of time each week to their development. Enroll in online courses, attend workshops, and seek mentorship opportunities that challenge your current capabilities. Document your progress through measurable achievements, such as completed certifications or project milestones, creating tangible evidence of your growth. This professional evolution not only boosts confidence, but also enhances your overall market value, making you more attractive to potential romantic interests. Social capital expansion requires intentional networking strategies. Create a rotating calendar of social engagements that includes both familiar and new contacts. Attend industry events, join specialized interest groups, and participate in community service projects. These diverse interactions help build a robust support system while simultaneously expanding your influence sphere. Maintain a balance between deepening existing relationships and cultivating new ones, ensuring steady growth in your social network's quality and quantity. Emotional intelligence development demands dedicated practice and self-awareness. Implement daily journaling sessions focused on identifying emotional triggers, analyzing response patterns, and planning alternative reactions. Seek feedback from trusted friends about your interpersonal strengths and areas for improvement. Practice active listening techniques in conversations and develop empathy-building exercises that enhance your ability to connect with others on deeper levels. This enhanced emotional acumen becomes particularly valuable in future relationships. Physical transformation follows a scientifically backed protocol, combining nutrition optimization with progressive fitness challenges. Adopt a nutrient-dense diet rich in whole foods while incorporating intermittent fasting periods to optimize metabolic health. Complement this with a varied exercise regimen that includes strength training, flexibility work, and cardiovascular conditioning. Track progress through objective metrics like body composition analysis rather than subjective measures, maintaining consistency over time to achieve sustainable results. Intellectual growth requires continuous stimulation through diverse learning channels. Establish a reading list that spans multiple disciplines, dedicating at least 30 minutes daily to concentrated study. Engage in thought-provoking discussions, participate in debate clubs, and explore creative outlets that challenge conventional thinking patterns. This intellectual expansion not only enhances your conversational depth, but also positions you as an engaging and stimulating companion. Personal branding refinement completes the transformation process. Develop a clear narrative, about your journey and achievements. Crafting stories that showcase your growth and resilience. Update your digital presence to reflect your evolved identity, including professional profiles and social media accounts. Participate in public speaking opportunities or content creation that demonstrates your expertise and personality. This cohesive brand identity creates a powerful impression of someone who has successfully navigated personal challenges and emerged stronger and more desirable. Strategic reconnection. Timing and execution. The moment of re-engagement requires precise calibration, typically occurring between 4 to 6 weeks after initial separation, coinciding with peak emotional recalibration in your ex-partner. Begin by orchestrating a casual encounter through mutual social circles, ensuring the setting feels organic, rather than contrived. Your approach should exhibit genuine warmth without desperation, maintaining eye contact for 2 seconds longer than usual to establish subtle dominance while smiling naturally to lower defensive barriers. Conversation architecture during these encounters follows a specific pattern. Start with non-threatening common ground topics before gradually introducing elements of your personal growth story. Use the 80-20 listening ratio, allowing your ex-E to speak more while you contribute carefully curated insights that showcase your evolution. Pepper the dialogue with open-ended questions that subtly invite them to reflect on their current situation, creating space for emotional comparison without explicit prompting. Digital reconnection employs a 3-phase messaging strategy. Phase 1 involves light, context-specific comments on social media posts, spaced 3 days apart. Phase 2 transitions to direct messages referencing shared experiences or inside jokes, crafted with deliberate ambiguity that invites response without demanding it. Phase 3 introduces deeper, more vulnerable content that hints at personal growth while maintaining an air of mystery about your complete journey. Body language during interactions should communicate confidence through controlled gestures and purposeful movement. Maintain slightly wider than average physical proximity during conversations, creating a comfortable yet noticeable boundary that signals your independence. Use occasional touch, a light tap on the arm or shoulder, to re-establish physical connection while maintaining clear boundaries about its frequency and context. Timing of subsequent encounters follows an escalating pattern. Start with brief weekly interactions, then gradually increase duration and intimacy every 10 days. Each meeting should end on a positive note, with you being the first to suggest departure, reinforcing your autonomy. Plan these encounters around activities that showcase your enhanced lifestyle or skills, creating natural opportunities for admiration and curiosity about your transformation. Emotional vulnerability becomes a strategic tool during these reconnections. Share carefully selected personal growth stories that highlight your resilience and improved emotional intelligence, but always maintain approximately 30% reserve about your deepest experiences. This partial disclosure creates an intriguing gap that encourages further engagement while preventing complete emotional transparency too early in the process. Response management proves crucial throughout this phase. Implement a delayed response strategy to messages, waiting between 60-90 minutes before replying. Craft responses that acknowledge their communication while redirecting focus to your current interests or achievements. Maintain grammatical perfection and moderate emoji usage to project stability and control, avoiding any appearance of neediness or excessive enthusiasm. The final phase involves creating what psychologists term proximity points, regular opportunities, for casual interaction that feel spontaneous but are strategically planned. Position yourself in shared spaces at predictable intervals, ensuring visibility without forced engagement. These repeated exposures, combined with your demonstrated growth and maintained independence, create a psychological pull that often leads to your ex initiating more substantial contact as they process their growing attraction and curiosity about your transformed identity. Navigating complex emotions, ethical considerations, and personal growth. While the strategic approaches outlined may yield desired outcomes, their implementation demands careful ethical consideration and genuine commitment to personal development. The line between constructive self-improvement and manipulative behavior often blurs in post-breakup scenarios, requiring constant self-assessment to ensure actions stem from authentic growth rather than mere tactical maneuvering. True empowerment emerges not from controlling others' perceptions, but from cultivating an unwavering sense of self-worth that transcends relationship dynamics. Several warning signs indicate when strategic efforts might cross ethical boundaries. Obsessive monitoring of your ex's social media activity, excessive analysis of their responses, or manipulating situations purely to elicit specific emotional reactions all point toward unhealthy fixation rather than constructive growth. Similarly, using mutual friends as information conduits or attempting to create artificial jealousy through exaggerated displays of success can damage valuable relationships and undermine personal integrity. The psychological impact of these strategies on both parties deserves careful consideration. While controlled withdrawal and strategic reconnection may trigger desired responses, they can also lead to emotional confusion and trust issues if not handled with authenticity. Your ex may experience heightened anxiety, uncertainty, or resentment if they perceive manipulation rather than genuine change. Conversely, becoming overly focused on executing these strategies might prevent you from processing your own emotions and healing authentically. Maintaining ethical integrity requires balancing strategic action with emotional honesty. Regular self-reflection sessions should assess whether your motivations stem from personal growth objectives or mere external validation. Are you genuinely investing in self-improvement because you believe in your worth, or are you simply following a script to regain control? This distinction proves crucial in determining whether your actions contribute to long-term emotional health or merely provide temporary satisfaction. Professional guidance often proves invaluable during this process. Working with a therapist or coach can help distinguish between healthy self-enhancement and potentially harmful manipulation tactics. They can provide objective feedback on your approaches, ensuring your actions align with authentic personal development rather than superficial strategy implementation. Additionally, support networks of trusted friends and family members can offer honest perspectives on whether your behavior appears genuine or calculated. Ultimately, the most successful post-breakup transformations occur when strategic actions serve as vehicles for real personal growth, rather than ends in themselves. The true measure of success lies not in whether your ex desires your return, but in how much you've grown as an individual during the process. This growth should manifest in increased self-awareness, emotional maturity, and the ability to form healthier relationships in the future, regardless of whether they involve your previous partner. By maintaining this ethical framework and focusing on genuine self-improvement, you create a foundation for either successful reconciliation or meaningful new beginnings. The strategies become tools for personal empowerment rather than weapons of emotional control, ensuring that any future relationship, whether with your ex or someone new, builds upon authentic connection and mutual respect rather than manipulation or artificial desire.